Hello, everyone. We are now on part 4 of Thanksgiving. This is the final part of the Thanksgiving information here. So, we're going to talk more about the football and Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Previously, we have talking about the foods that we eat on Thanksgiving, the pilgrims, and the fall celebration, and how Thanksgiving became a national legal holiday on the fourth Thursday every November. So Macy's has their huge Thanksgiving Day parade. It's the biggest running 2.5 miles parade. There are over 9,000 participants, 3.5 million spectators line the streets in New York, and 50 million watch on TV, while there are 4,000 volunteers. Many of you will remember Miracle on 34th Street. That is about the parade. It starts with the Thanksgiving Day parade. And here you can see a scene from the movie, and you can see the big balloon in the background and some of the parade route. I thought I had, Thanksgiving brings in Santa Claus at the parade. So the irony is that Macy's didn't start the parade. Actually, their rivals Gimbels did. They had the idea first and held the first one in Philadelphia in 1920. And if you recall in the movie Miracle on 34th Street, there is some competition between Macy's and Gimbels. And so Macy's, they started their first one in New York in 1924. There's a legend behind the beginning of this parade, and the legend goes that the immigrants that worked for Macy's, they were so thankful for their store and everything that they had, their job and their life in America, that they wanted to have a parade. So they went to the Macy's employers and asked them to have a parade. So that's the legend. In the beginning, it was called Macy's Christmas Parade, and it was to launch the Christmas season. But I'm not sure when the name actually changed to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And so in the beginning, they had these huge balloons. And you can see all the volunteers it takes to hold down one big balloon. And they used to let them just kind of go. In the very beginning, once they were done with the parade, they just let them go, and eventually the helium would run out in them and they would come down to earth and they would collect them. Until 1932, when a small plane hit one and it almost crashed. Since then, they take them down, get all the helium out, and they store them. And they actually store them in New Jersey in a Tootsie Roll factory. And Macy's is the second largest consumer of helium, which is for all these balloons, behind the U.S. government. The U.S. government is the first. And at this time, there have only been 3 years that the balloons didn't fly for the parade, and that was during World War II. There was actually a ceremony that was on the steps of New York City Hall on November 13th, 1942, where Jack Straus of Macy's, he gave the balloons to Mayor LaGuardia for the war effort. You might recall the name LaGuardia from the airport. It was named after that mayor. And the rubber from these balloons was used for the war effort to make things like life rafts. So we see another more recent balloons. Of course, Santa Claus ends the parade and brings in the new shopping Christmas season. So now we're going to get into the football. Many, many people like the football. And it's been a common form of gathering for people for nearly a century or more. There are around 38 million viewers of football on Thanksgiving Day for the NFL games. The first game started with Princeton and Yale back in 1876. And it had been recently invented. You can see these guys from that era, they do not have the padding or the helmets or anything like our guys do now. It's amazing when you look back at photos and see how the gear has changed to protect our guys on the field. And so, because the football season ended back around the end of November, the organizers decided to combine it with the holiday and the game, just to put the two together. By the 1890s, Princeton-Yale game had become a major event and would draw about 40,000 viewers to it. In 1934, the Detroit Lions played the Chicago Bears in the first NFL Thanksgiving Day game to be broadcast. So here's the Lions back in 1934, and here we have the Chicago Bears back in 1934. And the Lions have played every year since then on Thanksgiving, except during World War II. Now the Dallas Cowboys, and the Dallas Cowboys, they started playing in 1966 on Thanksgiving Day. This became the second game to be aired each Thanksgiving. And you can hear Thanksgiving 1966, the Cowboys won that game. And then in 2006, a third game was added to the NFL to be played on Thanksgiving Day. Now fans can watch all three games before, during, and after eating their turkey. So for those of you that like football, this is where it started. So I hope you enjoyed learning some information about Thanksgiving and our holiday, and where some of our traditions came from and how long they have been in effect and going, and hopefully they will keep on going well into the future. Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone.